Hello, Nancy.
Good morning.
How are you?
I am great. How are you?
I'm good. Everyone, we are so honored today to have on Gigi in the 561, Nancy Berry. Now, we have a lot to talk about with you today, Nancy. Thank you so much, first of all, for being here.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Now, you are in Alabama, so I do want to let you know that everyone's thinking about everyone in Alabama this morning and the bad weather.
Yes, and there was a tornado south of me and a little north of Birmingham, and we will pray for everyone affected.
Yes, we will. So we will definitely stay tuned to find out what happened. Now, I want to tell everyone a little bit about you because you have had quite a history in the corporate world. You spent 25 years there, and then you walked away from it, Nancy. You just walked away. And so to write a book.
Yes, I, as you mentioned, spent 25 years in the corporate world, and in 2005, walked away from a dream job at the Dallas Morning News and the WFAA affiliate in Dallas to start my own company because I had a passion for helping young adults make that transition from the college world to the real world. And in 2007, I wrote a book titled When Reality Hits, What Employers Want Recent College Graduates to Know. And in that book and in my speaking engagements, I just shared all the secrets to success. And Pam, it was so much fun talking to young adults and talking to business leaders about this younger generation. Truly, truly a gift of a lifetime.
You have mentored, I know personally that you have mentored so many young people up and coming. And what, Nancy, did you find to be the most challenging in your own special way of steering people in the right way? Because there's a right way and a wrong way to help people move on through the ranks, move up or sideways, laterally, whatever way is right for them. What did you find to be the most challenging in that mentoring process, if you want to share that with us?
You know, for me, Pam, the mentoring process was never challenging. It was always such an honor to take someone under my wing and to share what I've learned along the way. And if you really focus on just one thing that will help everyone listening to your podcast, it's to focus on those soft skills that so many times are not taught along the way. And soft skills are things like excellent communication skills, why you want to get to work on time, how to work with people in the workplace, your coworkers. And it's those things that make a difference. It's things like always taking the high road, taking responsibility for your actions and never saying anything bad about anyone, always being willing to do whatever it takes to get the job done.
We all stand on the shoulders of other people. Many people have, I can say this personally, stood on your shoulders. In your career, is there someone that when you think back, and because I do it all the time. I talk about, when I'm talking to people about my career, about people that made a difference to me, that I would never have been here without this person, or I don't think I would have. Is there someone or many someones that when you think back that you go, they were crucial, they were so important, or they just meant something along the way?
Yes, and that one person for me, there were many, but the one that stands out the most is Brenda Jackson. And Brenda Jackson was my first boss right out of college when I worked for Dallas Power and Light. She was my mentor, my hero, and to this day, one of my very best friends. I would not be where I am today if it wasn't for Brenda Jackson.
So great, because I same way. I mean, there are, like you said, there are many, and I love giving that kind of recognition. I just think it's so important. I want you to, we have much to talk about, but I want you to tell my listeners something that either maybe people don't know about you or something fun that you get a laugh about when you think back on something that happened. Share something like that with us, if you will. Don't want to, that's okay too.
There are so many things along the way that we could laugh at. Many of those would be when you and I had the opportunity to work together for so many wonderful years at the Dallas Morning News.
Some of those we best leave.
That's right. But the one thing that stands out to me that many of your listeners won't know is that I was born and raised in Dallas. Lived there my entire life, and about 3 years ago made the decision to leave Texas and move to Alabama to live closer to my kids. Both of my kids live in Birmingham, a block from each other.
Oh, wow.
And family is everything to me. So I moved to Birmingham, got an apartment for about a year, and built my forever home on a beautiful lake, which is about an hour north of where my kids are. And I have 5 precious grandchildren, and they are my pride and joy. They are absolutely so much fun, and I love being at a point in my life where I can spend so much time with my kids and my grandbabies.
And they call you?
Yes, my grandmom name is Mimi.
Perfect for you. That is absolutely perfect for you.
And one of my grandsons, Everett, when we were building the house, he called it Mimi's Park because there were so many beautiful trees and a beautiful lake. So that's what we call Mimi's house, is Mimi's Park.
That is so cute. The kids, like with our granddaughter Kate, who just turned 8 in October, it's just, I ran across something. One of my memories that came up in Facebook, I posted a few years ago. I think she was 4 or 5 at that time, and I had her on a walk, and I posted her comment kind of in a heart on Facebook, and it said, sage advice from Kate was, you should never eat Band-Aids. I mean, it's like,
that is great advice.
I know. It was just like, she had a Band-Aid on her first shot. And she's like, you should never eat Band-Aids. It's just, they're so great. But I have to say, though, Nancy, you leaving Dallas, Texas, is kind of shocking. I mean, because you, and that, to my listeners, trust me on this, she is iconic in Dallas. You are so well known, Nancy. You worked with so many charities, and you did so much philanthropic, just amazing work you just left behind a huge hole. And I don't even live in Dallas anymore, but I know it's there, including the fact, if you don't mind my mentioning it, I'm going to, so you can stop me. But you received this huge honor on top of many honors, but you were Mother of the Year, and that was kind of a big deal in Dallas. That's a kind of a big deal. I mean, it is in life, but so you left a big hole in Dallas, Texas. That's just all there is to it.
Well, I was honored to serve the Dallas community for so many years. It is a wonderful place. It's a wonderful place to raise your children, and a wonderful place to work and be involved in the community. But when I made the decision to move to Alabama, Pam, I believe that it was all part of God's master plan for me to be here near my family.
Right.
Because when I made the decision to leave, it all happened very quickly. We found a lot on the lake that we liked, and I signed a contract contingent upon me selling my house in 3 months. And my house was not ready to sell and was not on the market. And as it turns out, as I like to say, as God would have it, I had a buyer that came along, never had to list my house, sold my house to a wonderful family, and closed on a Friday in Dallas, and then drove to Alabama and closed on the lot on a Monday.
Wow, that really was meant to be.
And it was an easy move. It was an easy transition. And while I love all my friends in Dallas, and we all still keep in touch, I love living here.
Well, that was going to be my next question about adjusting to being in a new place, because you left a huge number of friends. I mean, maxed out on Facebook. I know you have to be, and so that can be a huge adjustment when you're new. You're new in town, and no one knows you. I know, because we've done it now a few times. So it is very different. So that's great that you just, but that's you, Nancy. I mean, that's just, you wouldn't do it any other way. But just to make it easy, breezy, wonderful, because that's just how you roll. Now I want to change from corporate you, and I could spend all day talking about that world that I lived in with you, that I shared with you. I mean, we could do a whole podcast about that. And in that podcast, I might reveal some of my, my things. But I want to talk about another side of you, and that's the domestic you. You are a cookie maker extraordinaire. I mean, truly, I don't think I've ever known anyone that has made so many different kinds of cookies, vast number of cookies for tea parties that you gave for a number of years in Dallas. How's that? Are you still making cookies?
Oh, absolutely, Pam. I love to bake. And you mentioned the tea parties. I want to talk a little bit about that.
Please do.
Yes. So my daughter Lauren is now 30 years old, and
Ouch.
when she was 14 months old, we started an annual tradition and hosted a mother-daughter tea. And every year the invitation list grew, and up into the point where we did that tea party for 21 consecutive years. And when we stopped during the tea party, it was simply because Lauren was in college, and it was just too hard to find a date right before Christmas that her friends were all going to be home. But we would make all the cookies for the tea party, and there ended up being 250 people on the invitation list, and we would make 120 dozen cookies. And in 2000, on our 10th anniversary of having this tea party, we actually published a little cookbook, which you may remember you helped me with.
I do remember.
Yeah.
I still have it.
I still have several, and we published all the recipes that we had baked up until that point. And I do still love to bake cookies. We do still bake them at Christmas time. And, the good news is I now have a granddaughter. That's my newest little grandchild. She's 2 months old. And so Lauren and I are looking forward to starting the tradition again and hosting a mother-daughter tea in honor of Leland. So that is going to be so much fun.
I love that you're going to start that up again, Nancy, because what it was, and I have to tell everyone that it was a mother-daughter, and I was a mother-son. And so an exception was made, and I did get to attend several years.
So much fun. We did have several moms who were boy moms that came to the party, and it was just a treat. But for many, many years, cookies is what I loved the most. But then probably 15, 20 years ago, I started baking this amazing cake that's a cinnamon butter cake. And I have probably baked 500, maybe more, over the years. And it is my signature thank you gift for people that I love and people that take care of me. And while I never planned to write a cookbook, I could write a book of all the magical things that have happened because of cookies and cakes.
Nancy, you have to do that. I'm serious. No, I'm very serious. You have to do that.
When I started my speaking business, Pam, I met with Acclaim in Dallas. It's an international company, and sat down with them and talked about coming in and speaking to their new hires and also speaking to their leadership team about working with Gen Y and this new generation. And I took a cinnamon butter cake with me to the initial meeting. And I generally always did that, and I would put a note on the cake that said, I hope you enjoy this cinnamon butter cake as much as I'm going to enjoy working with you. And so we talked about what I could offer their company, and a couple of days later, Dean called me back, the head of HR, And he said, Nancy, we love your topics. We want to hire you, but we'll have to tell you that it was the cinnamon butter cake that sealed the deal.
You are so crafty. Oh, brilliant, brilliant.
And when when I was building my house, I loved baking and feeding the contractors and the subs lunch. And one of the contractors, I made a cinnamon butter cake for his team. And Pam, when he gave me the final invoice, he took $500 off the total because I had baked his guys a cinnamon butter cake and called them by name.
I was about to say, now, see, this, I didn't know this little tidbit, but this clarifies for me. I have not been to your new home in Alabama, but I have seen photos of it, and people, let me just tell you, it is stunning, not only the location, but the house itself. And now I know why. They gave you the extra. Oh, Nancy Berry, you are good.
Really, it's all about cakes and kindness. And that's really the secret to success in every part of your life.
Nancy Berry, you just said the title of your new book, Cakes and Kindness.
Oh, that would be so much fun. And it all happened right here on your podcast.
There you have it. Oh, people, you're in on something. Nancy, I want to touch on a couple of things before we go. I thank you so much for your time. I know you're very, very busy. One thing I wanted to ask about your book that's out there it is available, everyone, on Amazon. So tell us the name again.
Well, my first book, which was published in 2007, is titled When Reality Hits, What Employers Want Recent College Graduates to Know. And Pam, I'm not sure that it's available on Amazon.
It is. I checked this morning.
Oh, great.
Nancy Berry, I do my homework.
Well, you did more homework. It's been so long since I wrote the book. We did 3 printings of that book, and it was completely sold out. So if someone is looking for the book and they can find it on Amazon, I would buy it. You can also probably find some used copies at sites like Half Price Books or eBay or something like that. But
what it said this morning was there were 7 available. So you might want to check Amazon and see.
Wow, that's good to know.
Yeah, I encourage people to, especially as a gift for college, high school, even college, high school, or even yourself in the workplace, even no matter your age, read it because it's filled with pertinent information. I'm sorry I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you, Pam. And it's a book that's a real easy read. It's a fun read, and I specifically wrote it that way for the younger generation. Yeah. There's lots of tips. There's fun chapters like 10 things that will drive your boss crazy, so don't do them. And there's a chapter about communication, and it's just a fun, easy read.
I did notice, because as I said, I do my homework, it's not available electronically. Do you have any plans to make it available for a Kindle, or would you write something similar just in the form of an ebook?
I don't have any plans to do that because I'm no longer speaking. I stopped, I guess I was on the speaking circuit until about 2015. And just decided that it was time for me to move on. And I was really tired of the travel and decided not to do another edition of the book. I had planned at one point to do an ebook, but just never did. So what's out there right now is what's available, and I don't have any plans to move forward and do anything similar, because right now my whole goal is to spend time with my children and my grandchildren. And my favorite title is the title that I hold right now, and that's Retired.
Yeah, but, I know you, and so retired in the sense of, for many people, and retired in the form of Nancy Berry. Yeah, it's just totally, totally different. Have I failed to mention anything that you would like our listeners to know?
I guess the one thing that I would like people to know is that, I spent 25 years in the corporate world and walked away from a dream job to start my own company as a single mom. So if any of your listeners are thinking about making a move like that, let me just share a few things that I did to make sure that Chris and Lauren and I were going to be okay.
Okay.
You know, I took a look at our finances and made sure that we had enough money to live for a while if I, didn't make a dime for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I did this, Pam, at a time when Chris was halfway through college and Lauren was in the 8th grade.
And I'm going to interject here and say that Chris was at Yale, by the way.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, Chris was at Yale. Lauren was in the 8th grade, and so I wanted to make sure that I had all the money put away that I needed to cover both of their college educations, and that, Lauren and I would be okay, living at home with maybe minimal groceries. And as soon as I got comfortable with the financial side is when I decided that I could move forward. And the hardest thing for me was letting my coworkers know that I was leaving, because we had such an amazing team and I worked for so many wonderful people. And so that was the hardest part. But then once I got through that and made the decision to leave, it was absolutely wonderful from day one. I had so many people contact me immediately about speaking to their groups. So I was very blessed. I had a plan. And I have a huge network. But if any of your listeners are thinking, can I do this? You can. You just have to do the research and find out, like I did with the speaking business, who are these speakers? How much do they make? Can I make a living doing this? And then I always knew that if it didn't work, I could always go back in the corporate world. So I had a backup plan.
Yeah.
But I would encourage your listeners to pursue the dream, because dreams really do come true.
They do. They absolutely do. Nancy Berry, thank you so much for this absolutely wonderful podcast. It has been fun, and I am going to keep pushing you on this cookbook, this book of Cakes and Kindness. You haven't heard the end of it from me, because hey, I don't give up. You know that I don't give up.
Well, keep encouraging me, because it would be a fun book. It would be filled with stories for sure.
You have to do it. You have to do it. So thank you for being with me today at Gigi and the 561. Thank you so much, Nancy.
Thank you so much for having me. And most of all, thank you for our 25-year friendship. I cherish our friendship and know that it will last forever.
I agree 100%. So, my wonderful listeners, thank you for being here with us today. I hope you have enjoyed this as much as I have enjoyed doing it, because it has been sheer joy. Don't forget, visit us at northpalmbeachlife.com. You find everything, not just about North Palm Beach. You know that if you're a listener and you have visited our website many times. The podcasts are always there, not just this one, all of them. So take a listen to all of them, but you can also find us always on iTunes and Pandora. So we are everywhere. Gary and I both appreciate everything you do and the support you give us on these podcasts. And we want you to know you have to keep listening to find out what's going on at Gigi in the 561. So stay tuned.